Hi, this is Tony. I'm speaking to Marcus Looft, the strategy director at Earnix. Marcus, thank you very much for your time, and it's great to see you again.
Thank you, Tony. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Brilliant. One of the highlights of my career and of the job I'm doing at the moment is to get reports and surveys that were done, trend reports, all of that. And so yours were one of those as well, your 2024 insurance trends report, and there was some interesting stuff. Thank you very much for being willing to discuss some of those things with me. I think we can maybe just start off with, in terms of the trends and the challenges that came out in the report. What were the biggest challenges that it seems insurers are facing today, according to the report?
Yeah, the report has not highlighted all of them, but certainly in the report, you can see that insurers understand that there are new things out on the technological side and that you should actually bring them in-house in some way. Of course, the AI topic and modernizing IT systems. And next to that, I think also in general, like insurers have seen a lot on inflation recently, like the investment, like the capital markets investment side, some strong volatility and uncertainty, and of course the risk, like how is risk evolving over time? New risks are coming up, like cyber, for example, and all these things. So it's quite a bunch, and the report has touched on a few of them, and they were more addressed on IT technological things that insurers face nowadays. Yeah, that's, I think, in a nutshell.
Yeah. One of the sort of mentions there were an urgency for change and the new urgency for change. Change is always needed, but is there anything standing out? Why this sort of focus on the new urgency for change?
Yes, I think there are several factors for that are like positive, so that insurers really want to go. This is on one side, the technology has evolved and has become really great with the cloud and the AI opportunities. And secondly, all of us notice we have to be very fast in this modern world. Like the speed has improved, like speed of decision, speed of action. And all of these things, the insurers feel that they, like on their existing systems, which are fair that they are there because they were invested some time ago and now they have to pay off. So you cannot change this running horse every year, so to speak. But they see that the opportunities that they have and the need as well, and the potential that upgrades will bring them more clearly than in the past. Yes.
So, a bit more urgency than there has been in the past on an evolution rather than a big shift. If we look at the macro insurance factors like inflation, and then you've got cybersecurity, which has probably in the last 2 years become immense. And what steps are insurers taking to address these issues?
Yeah, I think they are very aware that you have to be also technologically very fit, not only by your own systems, but also by your abilities. And I think that goes along with systems. So when you have more modern systems, you have more modern abilities, and that's needed for the cyber space as well. And to build up this kind of competency, so to speak. And that goes hand in a way, because even old systems are also, like, you could say, okay, they might not be affected, but usually they are more affected even than the new systems
Mhm.
in terms of cyber. And so when you insure a client, you should know about the kind of exposures they have, the technology they might use. So you yourself have to be modern in that sense to reflect that knowledge and what happens, what can happen, what is mitigations, and so on.
Mm. Yeah. And talking about modernization and technology and all of that, I think we sometimes underestimate the large volume of legacy technologies that are sitting out there in each company. Why is it so difficult for companies to move beyond these outdated technologies?
Yeah. My own experience, because we founded an insurance company and we were on the green field and we had no legacy in the beginning. But even there, you could see that systems develop into legacy quite quickly. Like in a time frame of 2-3 years, you might say, maybe I should have done something better or improve things. But usually you did a lot of work for that and you invested quite some money. So you cannot change these systems every year, basically. That wouldn't be reasonable to do. And so you need to wait for very specific points in time where you bind a lot of resources, internal resources, operational resources, high skill sets to make these shifts. And that has to be well thought through. And we think the time now is good for these changes because the technology improved so much, the capabilities are so strong. So it might be a good time to make that change, also because of the speed of our world. So the ones, yeah, that's basically the reason. But you have to find a good point, at least when you go to, I call it heart surgery. Usually when you do a heart surgery, it's the same thing. It's just the central thing of us as humans. And we cannot do a heart surgery every year. We have to make sure, or not even maybe no surgery at all. So we have to make sure that we are making it when the need and the reason is there and is very strong and underlying that.
Mm. Mm. And your business, Earnix business, centers a lot around data analytics, AI, that sort of thing. It's a crucial. And in the industry, we have seen that this is, as you now spoke, this is central to even the technology platforms. It's the AI and the analytics and so on. It's almost like game changers in the competitive environment. Can you maybe share some examples of things that came out for you in your discussions around the report itself about how insurers are planning to use these sort of elements into
Yeah,
competitive environment?
sure. Yeah, I think we see it on all the process areas that you can nowadays use intelligence that comes from the machine that can do things that we have not envisioned that can be doable via machines 10 years ago. And what they usually bring is they bring a lot of speed improvement and decision quality improvement. And that's what you can really measure even. And we have seen that in pricing, in even claims management, in scanning, like documents, whatever it is, like lots of things where you see enormous uplifts. And I think that's why the interest is high. I mean, there is also a control element. Like I would say, I'm personally in Earnix as well. We see there are lots of things that can be done, but we always want to make sure that the human in between remains in the responsibility, not like that he's basically pushed away. And so that these tools basically just help speeding things up and making them higher quality, but not losing control. Because I think
Mm.
that's what we should maintain as humans over our business or over our lives. And there is a certain danger that you can leave everything, even decision making or responsibility, to machines. And we think that shouldn't happen just from an ethical point of view. But they are good in terms of helping you speed up what you can do over the day, the quality that you have it in the IT system already, and things like that. And decision
Mm.
making as well, like decision making or helping decisions to make, giving the basis for it and to execute that is now dramatically improved in the recent years.
Mm. Mm. Now, with seeing that there's a big interest, people are seeing that it's a game changer. The technologies have improved significantly, but the adoption of AI, there's still a big gap between actual adoption and all the talk. But what are these barriers there?
Definitely. Yes. From my own experience, again, we oftentimes make the mistake that when we have a tool or a new possibility, that we just intellectually have to do it. But that's often just the first step, as very famous people also told about their businesses. The hard work comes after that kind of intellectual decision. And then it goes into how can I do it? Where is the data? How should I change my process? Because it's oftentimes changing processes as well. And so that has to be thought through and worked out very well. So you cannot just pick 10 of them and implement 10 of these cases the next year. That's usually not realistic. Like you can pick one or two and focus on them where really the need is the strongest. The business case is validated and works, and it works also from the technological point of view. And then really to do that and then to the next one, not like doing everything all together. And that takes time and takes technology and takes human time. So that's why it cannot be sped up limitlessly. Yeah.
Mm, mm. And then maybe, Marcus, just coming back to the report a little bit in terms of regulatory compliance, when you have change, as we see now, when you have modern technologies, new things that happen very fast, obviously the regulatory issues becomes a challenge, and we have to everything we do measure against this. The report indicates a growing focus on regulatory compliance, obviously partly because of this. What's driving the trend in general, and how are
Yeah.
insurance managing this?
Yes, I think rightfully the regulators all over the world have decided that there has to be more transparency coming into insurance because of the nature of insurance that is sometimes not super transparent because you pay some premium, maybe 2 years later you have a claim. So there's no immediate cause and action or cause and response. So they try to improve transparency as much as possible, but that is for a price because the if it is new accounting regimes or operational requirements and reporting requirements, um, these are basically taking more time. And so also there, it's helpful to have IT or good systems that help you basically extending demands or requirements from the regulation.
Mm. And what can insurers do, or what have you seen they are doing to minimize the risk of falling foul of the regulations and the compliance? Again, especially when it's fast changing.
Yeah, they try to be ahead of their time always. Like when regulation changes, thank God, usually regulators give some notice periods and you can prepare for it and make up your mind. What does it mean for you? And most insurers usually try to be on the spot when this happens. But sometimes you know that maybe you have very deep problems in fulfilling some of the requirements. And then, of course, it takes time. Like maybe you have to make some technological changes or like gathering some data that you haven't gathered before. So there could be challenges. Depends on each insurer, but that give you some headaches over some time before you can make that.
And then maybe again something slightly different, but insurance companies especially, but also you get bank assurance where it's bigger groups of companies and themselves. The groups have grown where they specialize. If I take with us, someone has got the investments and personal risk, commercial risk. They've got a variety of almost companies itself. And collaboration internally has always been very siloed, etc. Are we seeing that modern technologies are assisting them to get better cooperation, to assist with better innovation?
Yes, I personally think so and have experienced it this way because when we started my own insurance company that is still in place, we went to the cloud immediately because there was no way for us as a small company to do something ourselves. Was not the budget, not the resources and everything. And that has actually led to a very collaborative approach of accessing data, accessing reports, being able to do cross-sectional, cross-silo, because we don't have silos activities. And I think that helps and that keeps you as a team together because no one has his own truth and his own systems, but they share like in a team, when you have a football team, it's all your team. Like there is the
Mm.
team out there and it plays together. And that's what came with the cloud. And I personally was very skeptical about the cloud in the beginning, but I have to say that tools and technology that is there and the way this works eh, improves collaboration in an organization instead of building these silos and building the legacy. And that can happen even when you have started very idealistically. You can find some silos after some time, and you should overcome them. But usually it's a good thing to have. Yes, I fully agree. And that's also a good reason to make a technological change because of the collaborational aspect of it.
Yeah, because it becomes so much easier to follow what your colleagues are doing and to be up to date with what they're doing and be part of their
Absolutely.
process without even having to sit in those meetings and go through the documents every time. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe now coming back to a bigger picture, we've looked at some of the trends or some of the issues that came out in the report. If you now look at the opportunities and the future outlook for the industry, based on what you've read, the feedback that you got, the people that you've spoken to, all of those sort of things, what do you see as some of the big opportunities that insurers are looking at and will be taking up?
Yeah, I think from our experience at Earnix and our clients, the ones that when you look into their faces, the happiest ones are the ones that made these kind of very fundamental decisions and took the risk of modernizing and inventing their business newly, thinking it newly, and having a good environment in technology and teams. And you can see it from their face. You can feel it that they enjoy that and they benefit from it. Like maybe sometimes not immediately. So there's a latent benefit basically. Sometimes you face all the same hail or you face the same natural catastrophe that no one is helped because we all get it on our shoulders. But usually how you can deal in everyday life with your teams, with your decisions, that they are more in control of these decisions. And every one of us, I think, feels like that, even outside insurance. When you are your own uh, master and you can make a decision and you follow it, you can also live with it in the best possible way instead of saying, oh, this doesn't work and here it doesn't work because of this old problem. And this creates oftentimes frustration. And you can feel that frustration in organizations. Yes.
Mm. Mm. The insurance industry fundamentally is built on understanding risk, understanding clients, having as much information about the risk as possible, about the client as possible, etc. And obviously, with all of our modern technologies and analytics, AI, etc., data-driven insights is what it's all about. Do you see that insurers are putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to that?
Yes, yeah, it's a two-edged sword because you shouldn't collect any data that you are not allowed to collect from your clients. And that's a good attitude to have because everyone in insurance feels the responsibility. You cannot act like you are acting in consumer goods or on media platforms because clients expect to trust you. And that's a fundamental thing. But next to that, we have seen that when you have better access to data and more interesting tools that can actually make the data understandable, that you can see things that you haven't seen before and that make a lot of sense for what is important to your client, what is important to you, and also to mitigate risk because in the end we all pay for the claims. All of us, we are a collective still. So when insurers do their job well, also means that every one of us basically pays less. We shouldn't forget about it. Sometimes we think just of ourselves, and the next one maybe is someone who's using up insurance too much, and the next one is not knowing that he has insurance. But in the end, we all of us together pay for what happened. And so when we do better about that in whatever way that's possible. And oftentimes data shows that then I think it's a good thing. It's not necessarily something that is bad if the data is the data that you are allowed to look at and to investigate. Yes.
And it's appropriately applied. Yeah, absolutely. Marcus, fascinating discussion. Thank you so much. It helped me a lot in terms of insights into your report. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Tony.
I
It was a
appreciate that.
pleasure. Likewise.
Yeah. And I look forward to chatting to you again soon about what's happening in the world of technology and data analytics.
Very well. Thank you, Tony.